Good evening. I'm Abby Phillip in New York. We're following breaking news tonight on a number of key primary races across the country, with control of Congress at stake. One of the most consequential contests is unfolding in the state of Maine, where Democrat Graham Plattner just clinched the state's nomination for the United States Senate. That's despite a slew of scandals that he has faced in the months leading up to tonight's vote.
And to any of those who feel let down or disappointed or disillusioned, it is my job to earn your trust, faith, and support. And I will spend every day of this campaign, and if I have the privilege, every day in the United States Senate doing exactly that.
Plattner will face longtime GOP Senator Susan Collins in a crucial matchup, and Democrats will almost certainly need to win it if the party hopes to flip the chamber in the fall. We're also keeping an eye on South Carolina, where Republican Senator Lindsey Graham just punched his ticket for November without a runoff. And in the state's GOP primary for governor, Congresswoman Nancy Mace is admitting defeat in a race that has tested the power of President Trump's influence and his endorsement. Instead, Trump backed Lieutenant Governor Pam Yvette, and she will advance to the runoff later this month, along with Attorney General Alan Wilson. But let's start with Maine and the Graham Plattner of it all. He gave a pretty defiant speech tonight. He attacked Susan Collins, but basically he was arguing this is a redemption narrative, right? He quoted a hymn, "I was once lost and now I'm found," though he admitted that he's not very religious. Nevertheless, we've heard this from many a politician before. Is it enough?
Welcome back, everyone. Can you tell Abby really doesn't like Graham Plattner? I find that really interesting. And the Democrats on this panel, especially Adam Mockler, they tried their best to downplay Graham's scandals and his faults. They used the word redeem, which I think is interesting because that's a Christian term. And Caroline Sunshine, one of the conservatives, says the truth that we all have felt but couldn't articulate. Graham Plattner basically won by running on Trump's platform. Let's have a watch.
I think it remains to be seen if it's enough. And what I'm curious on to see is, what do the vote totals look like? I mean, how much did Janet Mills pull from Graham Plattner? Because that's going to be really a big indicator of how much he's going to have to win when it comes to Maine voters. At the end of the day, I mean, I think Graham Plattner is a very flawed candidate. I think if I were a Mainer today, I would have probably cast my vote for Janet Mills. I think every moment that we talk about Graham Plattner and his scandals or whatever it is, we're losing time talking about the issues that matter to voters, which is, as we know, affordability and gas prices. And I think we're taking away from candidates who are putting competitive seats in play, like in Iowa, Ohio, even in Texas in the Senate race, which I'm sure we'll talk about. But I think Graham Plattner is going to have a wave to overcome, and I don't know if there's more coming out, but if there is, he's going to have to brace for that.
Abby looks disgusted, and Sabrina's quite smart. I'm not sure if it's a smart move for the Democrats to have Plattner dominate the media like this right now, because if they want to win, they probably have to give more attention to other candidates in other states. So that's an interesting take.
There probably is more coming out, don't you think, Adam?
There could be, but we are now witnessing the post-cancellation, post-purity style of politics that the Republican Party has ushered in. I'm not going to sit here and defend things Graham Plattner did in his past. Not even Graham Plattner defends these things that he did in his past. But we have watched for a decade as Republicans have repeatedly lowered the threshold, lowered the standards for their candidates. And now Democrats are going to keep holding our candidates to an infinitely higher standard while we have Ken Paxton in Texas, while we have Donald Trump sitting in the Oval Office right now. And I guess it remains to be seen. But I also want to rephrase.
Is it a high standard or is it a low standard?
Listen,
because I'm not sure that he's being held to a higher standard than anybody else.
Well, but the Republican Party is absolutely holding him to a higher standard than they hold their own candidates. I mean, Donald Trump had a sit-down dinner with Nick Fuentes, and the very same people who were silent about that are now clutching their pearls about this admittedly weird tattoo that Graham Plattner has apologized for.
And the same
Nazi
Republican
tattoo,
yeah.
Adam.
I'm not.
Acknowledge that. It's not weird. It's a Nazi tattoo.
It's awful, yeah.
So
Notice what Adam Mockler is trying to do here. It's the classic deflection. He's trying to lump every scandal into one bucket. Ken Paxton, Donald Trump, Graham Plattner, all just imperfect, flawed individuals. all the same. Let's just be a bit more gracious because the other side is as well. But they're not the same. This is a trick. He knows it. Personal conduct scandals are in one category. The tattoo on a chest is a different realm entirely. And the only way Adam Mockler's equivalence works is if you never have to say which scandal is which. He's a smart guy. This is not a defense. This is a trick.
I mean, look, Democrats now are, I hear what you're saying, and I know we've had conversations with you, Caroline, about similar things, but basically Democrats are saying that we're going to go lower. They go low, we go just as low.
I think that Democrats are trying to reframe this away from Graham Plattner's personality and towards a race between Graham Plattner versus Susan Collins. Susan Collins is somebody who rubber stamps all of Donald Trump's worst impulses, from stripping health care away from tens of millions of Americans that will lead to death. We talked about the affordability issues. We talked about ICE even. I mean, Susan Collins rubber-stamped Kristi Noem, which led to the death of Alex Preddy and Renee Good. So I'm not going to sit here and judge Mainers who want to push against the status quo. It's not my place to judge.
So, once Plattner's record becomes indefensible, Adam Mockler exits the moral discussion and pivots to Susan Collins versus Graham Plattner. But Susan Collins is the most anti-Trump Republican you can get. She voted to convict Trump. She worked with Biden. She most certainly voted against reducing the health care. She was one of the 3 Republicans who voted against that bill on the grounds of Medicaid. So, as you can see, Adam is not the most logically coherent person.
Graham Plattner can earn their trust, then he earns their trust.
But I think what's missing in the analysis here is that Graham Plattner just won a Democrat primary by running on the best aspects of President Trump's 2024 campaign platform. If you look at Graham Plattner's platform, he ran on no foreign intervention in the Middle East, no new wars. He ran on D.C. has been working for the elites and it has stopped working for the working class, which is very similar to President Trump's original drain the swamp message. He ran on bringing back U.S. manufacturing, working class issues. He's an anti-establishment working class candidate.
That's the Democratic Party.
That's what you guys are missing.
She is making an important point.
He ran on that, and that's what he won.
This is a version of the type of politics.
I agree with Caroline 100%. You can tell Adam was nodding as well.
A type of populism on the left that Trump ran. At least he ran on it on the right. I'm not sure we could argue he governed quite that way, but he ran on it.
My gut tells me this is a byproduct of the wrapping of the messenger as much as it is the message itself. He looks like a dude. Let's just say what it is. He's got the scruff. He's got the edge. At a moment in which Democrats were...
I actually would say
it's the politics.
I don't think it's that.
Allow me to finish, though. Allow me to finish, because it's actually the Democrats who did this whole autopsy on what it is to be masculine.
Did you guys? Did you ever release that?
I've
never seen it.
Allow me to finish. It's the Democrats who did this whole analysis about what it means to be masculine. They didn't do that because there wasn't a problem there. They didn't do that because there wasn't something that was happening on the right that they couldn't tap into. When I look at Graham Plattner, the first thing I think of, he looks like a dude. And he looks like someone who looks very different than many of the men who lead the Democratic Party. And I think that is an appealing aspect that Democrats need to talk about.
And maybe the flaws are part of that package.
No. You are correct, LZ, with that part. He looks like a dude. And when he first entered the race and he said, I'm an oyster farmer, I said, uh-oh, we got problems. Turns out he's not an oyster farmer. Turns out that he's not a low-class guy. With the Hodge, he's got a bunch of money. He isn't what he says he is. Now, this isn't a reframing about turning this to Susan Collins. Susan Collins is the Republican every Democrat wishes every Republican was.
No.
She convicted Donald Trump.
No.
Yes, she worked with Joe Biden on a bunch of stuff. She is as bipartisan as they come.
No, she's not. She rubber stamps everything. Susan Collins is the
garbage. And by the way, come November, just like 6 years ago, just like we were seeing garbage polls about Lindsey Graham in South Carolina, we saw garbage polls about Susan Collins in Maine. Come November, she's going to wipe the floor with
Susan Collins
in Maine, Mainers don't want to be put in a moral quandary
of saying
Nazi tattoo versus...
But when they learn about his scandals, just to be clear, when voters learn about Graham Plattner's scandals, you're going to like this. Trust me, just you wait. You're going to love me saying this. When voters learn about Graham Plattner's scandals, he beats Susan Collins. He goes up in the polls, 48 to 43. Republicans, I'm
garbage
telling
sale.
you,
That
you
was a
gotta
garbage
stop
AI
talking
poll.
about his
That was a
scandal.
garbage AI
Like, we
poll.
have to talk about the fact that he wants to abolish ICE, which is a position that 70% of Americans do not support. Start talking about that,
the platform
please.
that he's talking about.
Yeah,
I think that is it's not President Trump's platform. I mean, President Trump ran on affordability, and they lost the
no new
thread.
wars,
We've
and
lost,
DC
and right,
And
and
he flipped
all
on
of
all of
that,
this.
all of that has completely changed right now with President Trump
he's
in office.
politically paying
And I
for it.
think to the point of Graham Plattner, he's not only someone that doesn't look like the establishment, but you look at the contrast between him and Janet Mills, someone who is the sitting governor of Maine, and people want change. I mean, people are seeing what Donald Trump came in on and was elected on, and they're not getting the results that they voted for. And they look at someone like Graham Plattner, who I'm not defending, but I'm saying is offering something different.
Well,
And
he's
I
offering
think that-
Trump's 2024 original platform, which is the winning one.
Well,
Everybody
it's
should
the
stick to
winning
that
one
if they want
because
to win
Donald
elections.
Trump flipped on it.
Great, then more times are going to win. If
The
that
reality is-
we're
the
talking about
reality is-
affordability, we're going to
we
win on
talked
that.
about the swamp. The contrast that we need to make is between Susan Collins and Graham Plattner. Janet Mills is done. So Susan Collins is a definition of a swamp creature. She promised she would run for 2 terms. She's now running for her 6th term after her net worth is increased by 2,000%.
What did Mark Warner say about that? What did half the
She is
Democrats
running
in the
for.
Senate say
She is the
about that same
definition
thing?
of the swamp. The Senate currently has a 12% approval rating. So if Mainers want to gain trust in Graham Plattner,
Will you
scandals
oppose
or
Mark
not,
Warner when he runs for re-election?
I'm talking about Susan Collins
No,
versus
but
Graham
we gotta be
Plattner.
consistent.
I also am not going to take this pearl clutching from Republicans who have zero to say about Donald Trump having dinner with Nick Fuentes. Have you condemned
have,
that?
yeah.
Have you condemned that? I
Yeah,
looked through your
Nick
Twitter. I didn't
Fuentes
see it.
stinks.
Have you
Clear, I don't
condemned
tweet very
Donald
much.
Trump for having dinner with Nick Fuentes?
I would not be having
But
dinner
you're
with
falling
Nick
into the
Fuentes.
same
No.
trap.
But this is beyond the point, dude.
It's not-
I am the most. I am awfully
You have
critical
standards
of Donald
down
Trump.
here, and we match you, and you say,
That
what the
is
hell? You have
okay,
standards
wait a minute,
down
wait
here,
a
and we
minute.
match you.
That-
Trump
okay,
had dinner
so
with a
Nazi
Nazi.
tattoos good. So that's okay now because
No,
Donald Trump
you set the
this other
standard.
way.
No one's
I would
defending
never
the Nazi
defend that.
tattoos.
Why would I
No
ever
one's
defend
defending the
that?
Nazi
Well, I know,
tattoo.
but where is the standard? Why
The
does
standard is
two
what you
wrongs
set
don't make
when
a
Donald
right?
Trump
Is that
had
not
dinner
true?
with Nick Fuentes.
You
Can you
guys are
condemn
That's
missing
it?
not.
the
It's
point,
not
which
just
is
a
that
Nick
the
can't
voters
condemn it.
don't
There's a lot
care.
of criticism
It
by
was-
voters.
Where is the standard? I think this is key. TW is making a total sense to me. Adam Mockler wants to have the cake and eat it as well. I don't mind. I really don't mind if he wants to criticize Trump. That's fair. He can criticize Trump and his character, but he also wants to defend the Nazi tattoo of Graham Plattner. There is no equivalence. Nazi tattoo trumps all womanizing qualities. So you can either apply the standard or you have to own that he is a Nazi and you are supporting him.